When in Bangkok, visit the Toy Studio. From aviation to other collectibles to match your interest, we have exciting locations serving you. The world watched with excitement and anticipation as Airbus's A380 MSN 001 took to the skies for the first time on April 27, 2005. The four Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines mounted on the A380's massive wings lifted the world's largest commercial aircraft gracefully from Toulouse runway for this historic first flight that lasted 3 hours and 54 minutes. This occasion marked the start of a 2,500-hour flight test schedule that will ultimately lead to the A380 certification in 2006. The first revenue services will be operated by Singapore Airlines and are planned for December 2006. This amazing aircraft marks Airbus's long-anticipated entry into the top end of the world's commercial aircraft market. During the course of Airbus's 35-year history, their product line has grown steadily from only one type of aircraft in 1972, the twin-engine A300, to a family of airliners ranging from the 107-seat A318 to the 380-seat A340-600. The sector that Airbus was still not involved in, however, was the very large aircraft category, which is any aircraft capable of carrying 400 or more passengers in a three-class seating layout. The A380 confidently fills this void with the ability to seat anywhere from 555 in a typical three-class arrangement or 853 passengers in a high-density configuration. Airbus's extensive use of composite materials and numerous other leading-edge technologies in the manufacturing process, as well as 4 ultra-modern Rolls-Royce engines, will ensure the A380 operating costs are significantly lower than any other wide-bodied aircraft. You are about to follow this remarkable aircraft during its busy first year of testing and public appearances, from its birthplace in Toulouse to Asian Aerospace 2006 in Singapore, and numerous other stops on its travels around the globe. Toulouse is one of the fastest growing cities in Europe and is home to over 1 million people. Located in southern France, halfway between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, it boasts a fairly moderate climate and rarely experiences temperatures below freezing. Toulouse is the home of the final assembly facilities for the A380 and is also the birthplace of its smaller siblings, the A330, the A340, and the A320. Most components of the A380 are constructed in other locations across Europe and are transported to Toulouse by land, sea, and air. Airbus found it necessary to order the construction of 2 purpose-built roll-on, roll-off sea vessels in order to transport sections of the A380 from sites in Hamburg, Germany, Broughton, United Kingdom, Puerto Real, Spain, and Saint-Nazaire, France, to a port near Bordeaux, France. They are then placed on special barges that travel by river to Langon, with the remaining 250 kilometers completed by truck. Surprisingly, the Airbus Beluga, formerly designated as the A300-600 ST Super Transporter, is not a major link in the A380 supply chain. Although it is the largest cargo aircraft by volume flying today, it's still unable to accommodate the major components of the A380. The history of the Paris Air Show extends as far back as 1908, when the organizer of a local yearly auto show made the decision to set aside a small section and dedicate it to aeronautics. This biannual event started to draw much more attention internationally when it moved to Paris Le Bourget Airport in 1951. It has since grown into the world's premier aviation event, and it was a fitting place to present the A380 MSN-001 to the world for the first time. On July 13, 2005, the A380 performed its first airshow routine to a huge crowd. Airbus's renowned fly-by-wire control system allows all their current production models to fly safely to the very extreme of their operating limits, and the A380 is no exception. The spectacular display witnessed at the Paris Air Show 2005 was to be repeated many times to awe-inspired crowds around the world. On October 29, 2005, Airbus's A380 MSN-004 landed at Frankfurt Airport for the first time to conduct a series of tests on runway, taxiway, and gate compatibility. It marked several historic firsts, such as the first A380 landing at an international airport, the first A380 landing in Germany, the first time a passenger boarding bridge was docked to an A380, the first time a boarding bridge connected to an upper deck of an aircraft. Frankfurt was the first airport officially certified to handle A380s in operational service. The A380 started its Asia-Pacific tour after arriving at Singapore, its first destination outside of Europe, on November 11, 2005. Singapore Airlines is the launch customer and plans to inaugurate the first revenue flights of the A380 to both Sydney and London before the end of 2006. Singapore has 10 A380s on firm order, and in keeping with its reputation of providing its customers with exceptional service and comfort, plans to introduce their aircraft with only 490 seats instead of the typical 555. As launch customer for the A380, Singapore Airlines has secured the first 4 A380 delivery positions from Airbus and will have a sizable fleet before any other airline puts this super jumbo into service. Airbus's A380 made its first touchdown in Brisbane, Australia on November 12, 2005. This was the start of a 4-day tour of the country that would see the A380 stop at Sydney and Melbourne before returning to Brisbane. Qantas, the second airline expecting delivery of the A380 after Singapore Airlines, welcomed this great aircraft to its major hub airports in anticipation of operating a fleet of 12 of the type. It plans to initiate A380 service by mid-April 2007 on its existing routes to Los Angeles from Melbourne and Sydney. Its second move would be to introduce the type on services on the Kangaroo route to London via Hong Kong, Bangkok, and Singapore. Malaysia Airlines hosted a truly amazing event to welcome the A380 to the city of Kuala Lumpur on November 16, 2005. The festival-like atmosphere included a water cannon welcome by 2 of the airport firefighting vehicles and a ceremony to bless the aircraft according to tradition. Malaysian Airlines has ordered 6 A380s and could start putting them into service during late 2007. The arrival of the A380 MSN 004 to the United Arab Emirates for the 9th Dubai Air Show on November 19, 2006 was a dramatic affair, as it was the first time the aircraft appeared in an airline's complete livery. This honor was granted to Emirates, the largest customer for the A380 to date, with 43 aircraft on firm order. It expects to start putting this large fleet of the Super Jumbo into service by May 2007 and will be the 3rd airline to take delivery after Qantas and Singapore Airlines. This particular aircraft will not ultimately be part of the Emirates fleet, so this color scheme was applied using the latest in decal technology. The only things out of place were the 4 Rolls-Royce engines, as Emirates has opted for the Engine Alliance offering instead. After completing its first transatlantic flight, the A380 MSN 004 made a low-key appearance and paid its first visit to South America in Medellin, Colombia on January 12, 2006. It had made the 4,580-mile trip with a team of 35 engineers to test the aircraft's ability to perform in hot temperatures and at high altitudes. A380 MSN 004 made a chilly first landing in North America when it arrived in Iqaluit, northern Canada for cold weather testing on February 6, 2006. Iqaluit is the capital of the territory of Nunavut and is located just 400 kilometers from the Arctic Circle. Although very remote, it is a capable airport and has the ability to safely handle large aircraft, as a result of it being certified as an alternate airport for the growing number of transpolar routes operated by the world's major airlines. The A380 dominated the airport scene as it towered high over the passenger terminal building. After being cold-soaked for several days, it was brought to life for taxi test and ultimately a test flight of about 30 minutes to test the various systems that were exposed to the extreme temperatures. A380 MSN 004 made its return to Singapore Shanghai Airport on February 18, 2006 to take part in Asian Aerospace 2006. The week-long show saw the A380 perform daily in the full colors of Singapore Airlines. As was the case in Dubai, this is not a permanent paint job, since this aircraft is destined for delivery to Etihad Airways after it completes its testing obligations.
de s'amuser aussi et de se détendre. Pour ce qui est du commissariat général,
Whispering Giant double-decker Airbus, the A380.
colossal. C'est la première machine volante de l'histoire des avions de commerce dont dépasse le million de livres. Vous savez, quand vous allez à l'épicerie acheter le livre de tomates, eh bien là, vous en avez pour 1 234 589 livres d'avions à la masse maximale au décollage. Là, pour le vol d'aujourd'hui, vous allez voir à l'intérieur du volume du Bourget avec quelle facilité le 380 reste calé à l'intérieur des limites très exiguës de ce volume.
The largest commercial aircraft in the world, the maximum takeoff weight of the A380 is 1,234,589 pounds. It's the first time we see an aircraft exceeding 1 million tons maximum takeoff weight. That's about 500.
Le 380 pourra donc parcourir près de 15 000 km avec 555 passagers à bord en 3 classes, mais on pourra pousser à 853 passagers en haute densité. Je l'en parle un peu pour les pilotes. Il y a pratiquement la configuration atterrissage pour ce qui concerne les volets. Il ne reste plus qu'un seul cran de volet disponible et le train reste sorti. Il reste sorti parce que durant toute cette démonstration, pour rester à l'intérieur des limites du volume, l'avion reste entre 200 et 300 km/h seulement. 120 à 160 nœuds. À l'issue, pour la première fois pendant ce salon du Bourget et la dernière aussi, eh bien vous verrez le 380 effectuer un passage train-rentrée alors qu'il repartira vers Toulouse dans quelques minutes. Voilà un avion en tout cas dont malgré les dimensions, la manœuvrabilité est absolument stupéfiante.
Followed by 4 Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines, each developing 70,000 pounds of thrust. The maximum cruising speed is 560 knots. During the presentation, Jacques Rosé and Wolfgang Hafsmeyer have kept the undercarriage down on flaps position 3, flaps 3. The flight is at speeds between 120 and 160 knots. Throughout the week they kept the undercarriage down because it takes a minute to raise and lower the undercarriage, and that bites into this limited precious time available for the flight display. But today, for the first time this week, before departing for Toulouse with this aircraft, they will raise the undercarriage and you'll be able to see the Airbus A380 fly away in the clean configuration.
Rien de faire un A380. Et en particulier, par exemple, dans le domaine du bruit, cet avion a été étudié à un point jamais vu auparavant. On dit que c'est le géant qui murmure, mais on le dit avec raison, on voit toutes les mesures, on voit le nombre de décibels qui est vraiment tellement bas qu'on se demande comment ils ont fait. Comment ils ont fait? D'abord, il y a des moteurs, les Rolls-Royce Trent 900 de 31,7 de poussée, qui sont des moteurs silencieux par nature, mais en plus derrière les nacelles, par exemple, ont été terriblement étudiés. Tout dans cet avion a été étudié, non seulement pour la performance pure, mais également pour le silence.
Whispering Giant, the A380.
Alors regardons cette silhouette qui va quitter le ciel du Bourget et du 46e Salon international de l'aéronautique et de l'espace. On le retrouvera évidemment au 47e Salon dans 2 ans. Mais regardons le passé et tout en gardant les chiffres en tête, en gardant la silhouette en tête, eh bien pensons aussi aux hommes qui ont écrit cette épopée Airbus. Pensons à tous ces gens qui, il y a 30 ans de ça, même un peu plus, tout à l'heure vous verrez dans les pages du livre d'histoire en vraie grandeur que nous avons effeuillé pour vous, vous verrez les avions qui sont les pères des Airbus. Le Nord Atlas, première coopération franco-allemande au tout début des années 50, juste 5-6 ans après la fin de la guerre. Des écrous, des boulons, tout ça c'est une histoire d'hommes qui aiment l'aviation. Voici donc avec les compliments de Jacques Rosé et Wolfgang Hafsmeyer et aussi des 50 et quelques mille personnes qui travaillent pour Airbus Industrie, on dit plus Airbus Industrie maintenant à travers l'Europe. Voici le symbole de ce que des gens...
The last flyby of the A380 before it departs to its base in Toulouse from Airbus and 50,000 employees.
Comme ils ont encore 40 secondes disponibles dans la démo, et ben ils vont nous en faire un autre de passage. Celui-là sera avec un peu plus de vitesse, ce sera la première fois qu'on le verra en configuration lisse. Les volets vont commencer à remonter petit à petit, le train est rentré, là vous l'avez maintenant propre comme on dit, clean en anglais, lisse en français. Ils vont aller du côté du parc de la Courneuve, sur notre gauche, tourner autour du parc, il y a Charles de Gaulle, à l'aéroport Charles de Gaulle, un passage. Eh bien, ils passeront devant nous, au long de la piste, probablement à 200 pieds, relativement bas, vers 60 mètres, préparer les
Directing Jacques Rosier Wolfgang Evans, the Charles de Gaulle Tower, and they'll fly by Charles de Gaulle before turning to head south to their base in Toulouse. And just listen to the silence.
The sounds of silence.